Roar. This coaster has gotten a lot of hate for being too rough, but Six Flags America spent time and money retracking it for its final season. So, did that make it an enjoyable ride? Especially considering how lukewarm I have been towards GCI coasters in the past? Find out my thoughts on this doomed wooden roller coaster in this review. Great Coasters International offers modern thrill wood coasters that normally get praised for their airtime. Though, with the normal restraints on their trains, I have not been a huge fan of them in the past. However, Roar avoids this by being one of the earliest GCIs and, for some reason, still not running with Millennium Flyer trains. With the tight restraints of more traditional wood coasters, though, this seems slightly unfortunate, as Millennium Flyers would likely make for a much smoother ride. Though, the traditional trains can help with some of the many forces on Roar. The first GCI coaster was Wildcat at Hershey Park, and the next two were clones, with Roar at Six Flags America and Roar at Six Flags Marine World, now Discovery Kingdom. The other Roar opened a year later in 1999, whereas this version opened in 1998. The Six Flags America version received PTC trains, whereas the California version did receive those Millennium Flyers that would be used on all later GCI coasters. These Millennium Flyer trains have heard airtime for me in the past, unless that restraint is left loose. So these trains have a very high learning curve for me as far as if I'm able to actually get a good ride on the coaster. White Lightning at Fun Spot Orlando, for instance, offers nice pops of airtime with its double up, double down, and out and back layout, but you have to watch to not get stapled, especially as the pre-lift will lower your restraint if the operators didn't do it during their checks. Roaring Timbers at Sunworld Han Thom offers a great course with airtime, particularly the 4 bunny hills towards the end of the ride, and seem to be strong despite the restraint. Texas Stingray offers a different type of airtime that is just harder for me to enjoy, though it has really grown on me over the course of this past year. With how rough and average Roar appears, many have wanted it converted to an RMC, as Rocky Mountain Construction does an incredible job with converting old wooden coasters. Discovery Kingdom converted theirs into an RMC in Joker in 2016. Six Flags America, though, has retracked Roar recently, instead of preparing for an RMC convert. Though this claimed to help reduce some of the roughness along its track, those retract sections were easily areas with the highest positive Gs, so I'm not entirely sure how much it actually helped, unless it was absolutely miserable beforehand. After leaving the station, you have a really neat little pre-lift with some turns and mini hills, which gives a nice bit of character as you get hyped for your ride. I was excited to ride this coaster. The first drop is steep and profiled with a really sharp turn. It likely looks really great off-ride, but it's just facing the River Rapids ride, so kind of unfortunate there. The sharp turn at the bottom didn't seem to do a lot for me. Maybe a decent mix of laterals, but it felt more just like strange profiling than a decent first element. Next, you go up a large hill, losing some speed at the top and making a rather sharp turn. This played much better than, say, the large hill on Texas Stingray, as the compact nature allowed me to enjoy its forces, while it also had a pretty decent drop off of it as well. This leads into another hill that again you crest pretty slowly. Still, the airtime in and out is decent for a wooden coaster, just as I find on other older wooden coasters. This leads into a hill that has a large curved drop as its second half, giving a blend of laterals and dropping down, which gives a nice bit of variety to the various drops that you're finding on this coaster. This leads into an airtime hill that is only alright followed by a low to the ground turn and another airtime hill. By this one though, you've noticeably lost some of your speed, so it is starting to feel a little sluggish and a little less powerful compared to the large drops in the first half. As this coaster's hills do have a lot of variety, the next is a turnaround that is kinda in the shape of a hill. So not a good drop feeling here, just an interesting mix of those light laterals. This is followed by a tunnel and then 4 low to the ground turns and hills. These have the potential to offer a nice finale, but the positive G's started to get pretty strong here, as you have enough speed to push you into the train, but not enough to get enjoyable airtime pops from these elements. This area has recently been retracked as well, which kind of helps make it smoother, as roughness and positive G's do not mix well. But switching to a different style of track here also just messes with me a little bit. So, how rough did I find Roar? After my initial 2 rides on my first day at Six Flags America, I found this coaster tolerable and enjoyable, with my takeaway from riding it in the middle being that it was rough, but not too bad, and I would actually really like a coaster like this at my home park. I could enjoy the airtime and the laterals, but some of the positive G's, especially towards the end, hurt me, and those retrack sections still felt kinda rough. So likely those could have been even worse before the retracking. On my second day at Six Flags America, it was the end of my Virginia trip, and my body was physically beat up from marathoning Twisted Timbers, which was totally worth it. Best coaster that I've ever been on. I was just exhausted and much more sensitive to roughness. So my 2 rides on this day left me feeling that Roar was likely too rough to be enjoyable, as the roughness really overshadowed all of the good elements and the tight restraint really dug into me on those rides. I do feel a different style of train could have helped this coaster and allowed guests to really enjoy the roughness and the solid layout. But I can see its value as a transition wooden coaster that it was. Overall, how good is Roar? With an ambitious and variety-filled layout, this takes traditional aspects of a wooden coaster and brings them into the 21st century. I came away feeling this is a coaster with a lot of strength and character, and one that can be enjoyed under the right conditions. That being said, the roughness can be too much to the point where it can hurt, so it just kinda depends with this beast. I rank Roar right above Wild One, both in the park and my overall coaster standings. Wild One has a decent airtime filled layout, with a fun, strong helix at the end, but it just didn't have that extra special charm and those forces that I can find on some other coasters. Roar did have some of those special forces, even if they're overshadowed by its roughness at times. I place Roar right below Mr. Freeze at Six Flags Over Texas, which is heard in my rankings as the forward-facing train can have very painful forces on its backward section. So these are 2 similar coasters, at least for me, in that they have strong, ambitious layouts, but can be painful to ride depending on the riding conditions. What are your thoughts on Roar at Six Flags America? Can you appreciate this wooden roller coaster? Let me know. And as always, Cupcoon Crap.